Hi folks, Spink here. This is episode 9, I believe, of my Let's Learn Ageod Civil War 2. Last episode we just executed the turn for turn 2. We haven't really looked at any of the results of that yet, so I suppose that would be our first thing that we would want to do. So first thing I like to do is go through the messages. Click that so we can see, okay, McDowell is active. It tells us that we did it increased our railroads and river transport. We got our $1 enlistment premium. And if you look here, we got a good chunk of conscripts. We got a good chunk of money here because we did our war bonds, has decided to issue war bonds. The Union has decided to start building new armories, declare the blockade. We've got Hooker, Burnside, and Halleck coming in, awaiting a command. Here our siege of Harper's Ferry. We got a breach and inflicted 5 hits to the enemy. And our after much heartbreak, our army finally managed to extricate itself. Hamilton was killed during the battle. We lost 1 national morale due to the first one. We lost the 2nd national morale. And that naval bombardment thing we had that just popped up very briefly there at the end. It said the Alexandria defenses has bombarded the 3rd CSA detachment, landing 28 hits and suffering 0 from return fire. Well, Alexandria is here. So that, to me, says that they tried to put to move some troops by sea through the lower Potomac, perhaps. Don't know what else that would have been. There's that. It's all our movement stuff. We're not going to go through those. Maybe just scan through them. We do have the strategic redeployment. It says some things have become active for us now. We did take Clarksburg, and we captured a little bit of supply in the process. So we can see we also increased this military control over this area. Next, an attempt to perform the sea mine was unsuccessful, but the one in the James Estuary that was successful. Talks about our telegraph lines. Copperheads, volunteers are mustered by the Southern States, Confederate States of America in Southern California. You know, this is exactly what I was talking about just last episode, I think. That because of the low Union sentiment here, or the high Confederate sentiment, that we were maybe vulnerable to this kind of thing. And so now they are besieging Los Angeles. We've got two militia regiments and a ranger. Oh, I guess, what would you call that, a regiment? Probably not even, probably 150 men. Ranger company. And they have Copperheads, which these are presumably something like partisans. You can tell they're already at half supply, judging by their little green deal there. Well, that's interesting. We're going to have to do something about that. They're doing the requisitions of food and whatnot in Camden, South Carolina. Our transport ships produce some of our transported supply. Asboth has been congratulated for his actions against the enemy. McDowell has not. So, let's see, where was I at? So that's the turn result. I got through it much faster than last time. I don't have to read everything. If you see here now, we put this naval force into the James Estuary, and see these icons have popped up all over the place. Now this is the blockade. So we've blockaded all of the ports that come out of the James River here. So that is half of the blockade. I think this is probably a good point to talk about that now. Okay, I've got me a document that I downloaded off the Ageod forum about the blockade. I've got that sitting up on my other monitor, so I will just do it right now. How about? Okay, basically there are two components of the blockade. There's what's called the blue water blockade, which is the ships you have out here in and this is your essentially your distant blockade. These are intercepting ships, intercepting merchant ships, intercepting blockade runners, etc. And the other half of it is called the brown water blockade, and that's where this is pretty much an abstracted thing out here. That just really all that matters is the sheer volume of the ships you have, pretty much. And the brown water blockade is exactly what we're doing here. It's individual ships placed in specific spots to blockade specific ports. And each of these accounts for about 50% of your blockade strength. I believe this is going to be pretty much just our blue water blockade. I don't know if this value it's showing here is just. And there's another one down here in the Gulf. By the way, I just had clicked back and forth between the two. I don't know if this value is your total blockade value or if this is just for the blue water blockade. I'm not sure. So what we need to do is we need to build up essentially these blockade squadrons in these boxes, and it does say that you should put them between the two boxes basically evenly, and that it has a diminishing return, that once you reach about 30 or 40%, it's harder to get it higher than that through just putting these things out here. One of the things that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to keep these ships supplied. You see, they're going through their supply here, and they will also occasionally take cohesion hits. So we are going to have enough of a blockade force that we're going to be able to give these guys a break from time to time and shift some of these back to port for a while to let them recover. We need to possibly be sending transport ships loaded with supplies out here for supply situation. And this is where, in the game options, this happens. That's what this is about here. This is our naval boxes for the blockade. And you see the various settings. Ships, like the first one, ships in the boxes don't use supply and don't lose cohesion, but will provide only 75% of their blockade income and patrol rating. And you can set that to whichever, from 50% up to 75. It doesn't look like the rule changes, just the percentage changes, so I'm not sure how that all goes through. But if you don't want to mess with the cohesion and the supply, feel free to put them out. I actually want to use that because anything that's supply, I want to, I definitely want that to be a major concern of mine. Okay, and blockade. We need to, as we think about this now, we've got all of this coastline that we're going to want to be blockading. So we're going to have each one of these ports. If you hover over it, it will tell you where the harbor exit is. Albemarle Sound, for instance, is this one. Now, that I don't know if that necessarily means we have to blockade this specific piece, or if we could blockade it out here. It's something we're going to have to see as we go along. But we're going to have to start thinking about using our naval forces to start blockading these things. Maybe taking some of these forts, because it does say that forts can blockade, can be a blockade as well. There are also what they call non-blockaded harbors. There's some special harbors that if they're not blockaded, they will reduce your blockade value. So these are apparently ports that are of high enough capacity that even if you blockade all of these little ports, you need to be blockading these other ones because it just shifts the traffic apparently to these other things, and they're primarily the bigger ports. It's Norfolk, Virginia, up here, Wilmington. Where's Wilmington? Wilmington here, Charleston, Savannah, Pensacola, Mobile, New Orleans, and Matagorda. So those are the important ones. Kind of surprised. Yeah, New Orleans is there. So when we're looking for our blockade targets, that would seem to be what we would want to prioritize. And the value in the box is apparently this is, well, first of all, your complete blockade value that it calculates is then halved. Now I don't know if this is the halved one or if this is the pre-halved one, but that halved value then is going to be applied to the production of all of these port cities. So for instance, we have in Wilmington here, we have government warehouse that produces money and supply, and we have harbor that produces supply and ammo. So presumably these are the values that are going to be reduced by whatever our final blockade values are. So that's what that is. And I think we'll talk about the blockade more as we actually start physically doing it. Where we're looking at 20 minutes left. Did we go through all of these? I think we did. If you look at the foreign entry value here, that's now -7%. It was +8 before, so our blockade knocked that down. So that's good. First thing I'm going to do, because I forgot to do it last turn after talking about it, is I forgot to build the supply units that we were going to use out here. So I'm gonna do that. Oh, there's another one of those HQ guys. We're gonna have to get one of those. They cost 80 money, 20 scraps. So these presumably are half. They build them fast though. 40, 10, 24. I guess we'll just build. I'm gonna build 2 of them here. Oh, what the heck? Let's build 3. Okay, we do have a... I don't think these guys have the strength to take Los Angeles, so I don't think we're necessarily going to go after them. We're going to see if they lose their... if they run out of supply. What else am I going to do? I'm going to get this HQ support out, because we just always want them. Where's that going to be? Whoops. We want to put this one in St. Louis. This is where our other army is, so we'll stick you right there. Normally I always do supply at the end, but it seems like I was forgetting stuff. So, okay, let's get out of supply. Yeah. And let's get over here into Alexandria so we can see what we're going to do here. Okay, as you can see, our army here is just shattered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 brigades of infantry left. All the rest are gone. And if you look at the victory point total, we're sitting here at 86 victory points. The Confederacy's 195. A big chunk of that came from those destroyed units. This was just a total disaster to have this unit get stuck there where it couldn't get back out without fighting its way out. So that's where we're at. Our artillery seems to have fared better. I don't remember how many we started off with. A couple of these appear to have the little stars, which show that they've gained a little experience. So, but even these are now down to very low in terms of cohesion. So luckily we got out of here. Now the question now is, do we stay in Alexandria? Possibly we would be driven into the Alexandria fortifications, or do we retreat all the way to Washington? Given the the shattered nature of the army here, I think we are gonna pull all the way back to Washington with these, and we're gonna get stacked up with what's coming in, with what McClellan is doing, and we're gonna see if we can get these forces back into something that can fight. Because I think we're gonna see, possibly Johnston maybe try to come through here. But our big concern right now is we've got to protect Washington, because if we lose Washington, it's pretty much game over. Baltimore is another thing that we've really gonna have to. So we'll just have to see what we see. If we dismissed McDowell, it would cost us 1 national morale point and 8 victory points. We don't really have anybody to replace him with at this point. McClellan is still just a 2-star. So he can't command the army in any case. So, but let's see if we can get something done here instead of just jabbering on. Okay, so the army's going to come into Washington 13 days. I wonder if we can speed that up a bit. Can we railroad them? Yeah, we can. 1 turn railroad, or possibly use the. We cannot use river movement because we do not have enough transport points. Oh, so this unit, in spite of it being little tiny, can't do that. So anyway, that's good enough. We'll get over there. We'll start getting ourselves straightened out. Okay, now since Johnston over here, now this is something that is kind of going to help us out here. Since Johnston came down here, I think we can take Butterfield's force here. He definitely needs to get some more leaders in this stack. And we're going to put him on an assault now, on an assault posture, so that rather than just besieging this, oh, look, we breached. It says it doesn't provide any benefit anyway. Totally breached. So, in any case, though, rather than besieging it now, we're going to assault it. And this seems like the way to do it. We do have a breach, so we'll grab Harper's Ferry, see if we can tell what's in there. We do have a sharp Harper's Ferry armory, which would be kind of nice, and the depot there, and then the Harper's Ferry itself. So we'll take Harper's Ferry if Butterfield gets activated. If he fails to activate, he's not going to be able to go on an offensive or assault posture. So we'll just have to see what he's going to do. We'll order him to do it, and hopefully he'll follow orders. If he doesn't, we'll find somebody who will. Okay, let's look at the military control. We're slowly building this up, but we've really got too small a force to change that military control very fast. We do need to get some more forces eventually up into this area to keep the Confederates from raiding out in that direction, and to just secure this railroad. We've got to keep that supply line open that direction. What do we have sitting here now? Basically any force we have sitting here, I'm going to stick in McClellan's stack, that HQ support. That's got a couple turns to go, so we'll just leave it there. Keys. Let's put Keys in here too, for no particular reason, other than we'll stick McClellan down there. You can move the units freely within the region, so all that matters is whether or not you are in. If you stick them in the building, then they are considered to be in that structure. Otherwise, they are considered to be just outside. This will become something to think about in the winter months, because that does provide better. So what have we got? We got a grand total of 1 brigade and 1 brigade of so this is basically our current mobile force. 100 and I wonder if I want to put this out here. Maybe we ought to do that. Maybe we ought to give that to Humphreys and stick this here, just so that, you know, at least there's we can start building the entrenchments for that. As you can see, Stone's command here, he's at a 2 on entrenchment. if we bring in other forces, as long as we haven't moved stone, we can combine them in there and get that same entrenchment value. So if you're looking to build a defensive line, you don't need to retreat your force to wherever and then start from scratch. If you've got some units to prepare your trenches ahead of time, your entrenchments, that can be of value to you. But we're gonna stick this guy out here, see what happens. I'm sure if Johnson wants to go through there, he'll just roll right through us. But we'll see if we can hold him. Next, we've got Halleck has shown up in St. Louis. What has he got? He has a good Army Administrator, increase in fatigue recovery rate. He's a Master Logistician, 25 reduction to supply consumption for the whole stack, and a Training Officer. He's got that same Training Officer ability that McClellan has. This only applies if the leader is in command of the stack. So if we were to put Halleck in the same stack as, he's a seniority 13. If we were to put him in the same stack as Fremont, you see he's not in command of the stack. Fremont is senior, so Fremont's in command of the stack. So this Training Officer ability he has would not apply. So what I think I'm going to do with him is I'm going to bring Halleck down and put him basically in charge of this force that's going to be building up here in Cairo. Alright, I'm just going through the E keys just like I normally do, E and R. Okay, so what did we see happened here? That force that we thought was maybe doing something up here isn't anymore. Where did he go? Is it down here? Waitman's, Parsons, Slack. Yeah, I think I recognize those names, so I think he came all the way down here. I assume that he has a supply situation that was not optimal, so he's going to be building up, and then maybe he's going to go through and try to take some of these forts. I don't know. What's our weather looking like over here? Oops, that's terrain. Weather. Okay, so the weather has cleared. The weather is good everywhere. What do we got out here? Mud out in the prairie. Mud in the prairie. And mud, marsh. Mud down on, oh, I guess that's Mexico. We don't care about that just yet. Okay. I'm going to hit the C key, which will center me back on this unit that I've got. Let's see, we wanted to look at his supply situation. See, now he's down to 4. This is something we were expecting. We talked about that last episode. The supply phase happens at the beginning of the turn, so he is currently sitting in a region that does not have any supply in it, so he does not add to his supply stock. If he was in anywhere that had supply, he would add supply to bring him back up to 100%. So, if we do not put him in supply at the beginning of next turn, he will have no supply. And I think that it would be the turn after that with which when he starts to take losses due to being out of supply. I'm still a little wary of what Price is going to do. I'm going to move this unit to Lexington just to provide a little bit of protection here, as well as being able to resupply him, so they'll restore his freedom of movement somewhat. Now this Asbeth, we have a bit of a situation here. Our cohesion is very low for these units due to this battle we had here before, and Price is over here with two brigades and 2 batteries of force that's higher than ours, and he's got looks to be full cohesion, and he looks to be in good supply situation too. We can see this because he's adjacent, so we can see some of his stats here. So I'm thinking at this point Jefferson City is going to fall into our hands pretty much regardless. So I'm thinking we're gonna have Asbeth fall back. Maybe not that way. Have him fall back to Lexington and kind of recover a little bit. Maybe even join up with his cavalry. And again, I'm going to put his defense on a fallback defense so that we can hopefully evade. In fact, we could even do this. This is maybe something we should have used on our army last turn. This evade combat command. It'll show up right there, so that we really don't want this guy to get in a fight. Okay, Lion. Weather has cleared. We're going to take his force. He's good supply. We're going to take his force and go into Rolla, and we're going to take this guy out. In fact, you know what? Because we got a nice hothead leader here, let's put him on just total assault and all out, so that we'll take out whoever's here, and then if they do have a garrison in Rolla, we're going to attack him immediately instead of doing a besiege. So we'll try that. Okay, next. Hurlbut here. I really don't know what to do with these guys. This will open up at some point. Oh, has that? Let's see if that shows up. Various interior government. No, so we still don't have the option. I believe it'll show up in government, Department of State here. The ability to, or possibly even here, Department of War, to intervene in Missouri. So that's not even an option for us yet. So we're just going to leave these forces here. I think it's more than enough force for now. There's no reason to increase those. So McClernand we brought down here. Now we also have these brigades that and the artillery that we built earlier that are going to come available in a couple turns. I'm going to actually combine these into a single stack for no particular reason other than I want to. In fact, we could even combine those with whatever this Indianapolis force is, but I'll just leave them in this other stack. What is McClernand here? Leader is so quickly angered and often argues with his subordinates. -4 command points. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. So yeah, we don't want him in charge of this army. He's also a recruiting officer. If he was in a city of level 5 or greater, he'll be able to get some conscripts showing up. And maybe we'll move him to a city after a time, but right now he's the ranking man on the field, so he's the guy I'm putting in charge here. Even though he is not very good. That's not what I'm going to base my my decisioning off of. Okay, next we have our 2 militia brigades here still. There's really no reason to keep these here any longer. One of them I'm going to send over here to Metropolis, so we can have a bit of a force there. The other one we're just going to hang out there. No way? Yeah, we'll just leave him there. Next, there's the other brigade. Ben Butler's force has opened up here. Now they're active. 2 nice brigades. They're conscripts, but they're good brigades here, good strong brigades. We have a 3-star general and a 1-star general. So our command situation is much better than we're seeing elsewhere, and that's because, you know, Butler is giving us 12 points. Shields is giving us an additional 4 points. Gives us 16. Cut it in half again because we're independent. That gives us our 8. So, let's see. What should we do with this guy? There's nothing up here. Maybe we'll start advancing up the peninsula here. Put him on offensive, just so that we can. Well, we do have a garrison here. Looks like we have the 1st Virginia, 1 unit, power 18. Yeah, we'll go attack you. Maybe if we start throwing some force up the peninsula here, we can give these guys something to think about, so that they'll maybe send some force down here instead of deciding to go north with it. So we're gonna send him north. He's got a supply wagon with him. Fort Monroe itself has a depot, so we'll do that. What's next here? We'll hit the next. So we're just gonna kind of move up until somebody comes by and tells us something else. Alright, here we go. We've got our new pack trains being built. I'm going to put those in the same force. They'll be built next turn. We're going to want to build our first one down here, so we are going to have to clear this out. So maybe we should think about sending this California command down. What's our Confederate loyalty is 45, and here it's 55. I wonder if they have to have a higher loyalty to put those in there. Looks like, yeah. So I wonder, yeah, we'll do it. What the heck? We'll move him down. He'll be 23 days. We'll just kind of take a look once we get down there. This unit is getting ready to be opened up here in 2 more turns. The plan is we're going to put a depot here. We're going to put a depot here. Once we have sufficient supply built up, we're going to start moving south. Okay, let's see what we got next. Select that guy so I stay in luck. Southern Oregon. Again, I don't really know what to do with this guy. I'm just going to leave him here. Utah. We still have our force, our single regiment in Utah. That's mountain and mud. To Nevada. I wonder if we can move him down to Nevada. We did want to have a unit in Nevada here just to have some garrison. We can't put any rail or river move on him. We'll give it a shot. We got to thinking. We have this Indian unit here, or this Indian village here, and we have these Colorado Volunteer Cavalry here. Is this what is going to be the Shivington force that did the Sand Creek Massacre? Yeah. Next, we have some militia here. We're gonna put those on sentry status. Leave them there. Shirts, we're gonna leave him where he's at. We have more militia here. We're gonna put him on sentry status. Dan Butterfield, we've got him doing his deal there. Okay, what are we doing here? We've got the military control here. It's not great, 58. So we're going to leave him here to gain that up some more, and our military control here is still pretty low. So we're going to leave these units to continue bringing up the military control, and then weather permitting, we'll do a move on Charleston. Next, this Michigan Brigade we'll combine that with the Wheeling Force. What I like to do, just some of these have the names they started with, I'm going to take Blanker out of it, and then put it back into Blanker, and now it's the Blanker Force. Just sometimes I like to do that. So we'll just leave him there. Didn't change anything but the name on there. You could also do Alt-click on this name and then type in your own name. Sometimes I do that. Stone, we're just going to leave him here. Burnside. What is he? He's a militiaman. He gives a discipline and cohesion bonus to militia, and he's a recruiting officer. Well, let's take him down. Before we do that, give me McClellan's force. Let's just use McClellan as our gather-upper force. Hooker is currently in the Army of Northeastern Virginia. We'll just stick him there for now. Kansas Militia, we'll leave him there. Actually, we'll put him on sentry status. That's a toggle, the S key, so we'll put him on permanent sentry status. Hurlbut's force, we've looked at those. 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 Looked at those. Okay, so we're done with our units. Now we're going to go with the T key. The T and Y are the same thing as the E and R, except they apply to the naval units. We have a couple of brigs ready here in this area. I'm again just going to start moving stuff down to Fort Monroe and maybe use those as our base to build our first blockade area here in North Carolina, perhaps. We are going to have to eventually seize some bases down here, so we'll be able to resupply our ships without moving them all the way back up north here. Whoops. The Pensacola, we'll bring it down to right there. He's not. Yeah, this is a unit that could have two. We'll just leave him what he is. Foot. As he still has not resupplied. I wonder why that's not. Do we have supply here? We got loads of supply here. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just leave him another turn. Oh, I imagine what happened is last turn he moved, so he has not spent the supply phase in port. So at the beginning of the supply phase, he was still out here patrolling in this river area. So even though we moved him into the port, he has not spent the supply phase in the port yet. So that's why he still hasn't. And the same with this gunboat squadron. And we might as well just stick them together with this Foot's fleet. In fact, why don't we take the two transports out? Whoops, we had Foot. Put Foot back in the Mississippi fleet. There we go. Second fleet. Now I'm going to Alt-click, and I'm going to backspace, and I'm going to put Transport Squadron. There we go. So we can rename them to whatever we want. That looks good. This is our blockade force out here. Now you can see our cohesion is going down pretty good here for the Pawnee. So, and our supply. So this is something we're really going to have to get our minds around as we're doing stuff. Is how fast does the cohesion go down? What does it mean for us? Do we have to have a force that we can be shuttling our ships back and forth? I'm not sure if this is an every turn thing. Did that go down, or was there something in specific that caused that to go down? I don't know. So I'm just going to leave them there another turn and just kind of see what they look like next turn. We've got transports sitting here in Monroe. I'm going to stick these on a passive, if for nothing else, to remind me, as a visual reminder when I see them that those are the transports. We have this other gunboat squadron sitting out here in the Great Confluent. He's doing okay on supply. Has full ammo. He's suffered a little bit of cohesion. His combat power is considered very low, probably just because he's a gunboat. Okay, and here's our blockade squadron. We're going to bring those up. Here is this is the unit that goes after raiders who are trying to attack our fleet there. There's our merchant fleet. Here's these two guys. We're still doing pretty good, although our cohesion's starting to pop up. Oh, we do have a Confederate force here. Wonder what this is. It says militia, so I wonder if those are transports. That's interesting. I wonder if we should pop over here, or if we should stay here on chance to intercept them. Why don't we do that on the off chance that we can intercept that force? Can't hurt. We might learn something. Gulf Squadron. We do have some, presumably these are blockade runners here rather than raiders. Let me back up one. We have the Caribbean Squadron. This is a 8-ship element that will be fixed for 4 turns, and then that'll come available. Okay. Atlantic Squadron number 4. What is this? Oh, here's a blockade flotilla that just came up, but it is still missing half its force. So this is something we would want to leave in a. We'll just leave these in Boston here. I'm going to put them on passive again, just to kind of be a visual reminder not to move those guys, and we'll just let them stay there until the rest of these ships show up for them. And then we ought to make sure in the war production tab that we actually do have, which it looks like it's taking care of this for us already, making sure we have the replacements. Cavalry we're a little light on. So we'll leave that as it is. So we've got this guy in Boston. Let me grab him again, just so that it'll stay in with what we got here. There's our Lake Erie squadron. Let me just check for the heck of it. Is there any way to get these guys out? There is not. Okay, so they are stuck in Lake Erie. Unless we want to move them up to these other lakes, I guess we can do stuff. But they're the Great Lakes Force. There's really nothing we can do about them. Back to Farragut. We're going to have to do something with him at some point. I'll figure it out. And we're back to foot. Okay. So this has gone way over. We've done our orders. I'm going to wait till next turn, and then we'll do the production, and then we'll run the turn. So I will see you next time.